My name's Alan Greyeyes. I'm the Indigenous Music Development Manager, I think is my title at Manitoba Music. It's changed a couple of times over the last 13 years. I'd like to start out echoing the sentiments and acknowledge the Mi'kmaq Nation here. For over 500 years, they've served as our front lines of Indigenous resistance and also welcomed incredible people to Turtle Island. And so, again, I'd like to acknowledge the Mi'kmaq for their work and their continued support. I'd also like to say Happy Mother's Day. So, and then I'd also, one last thing before I speak is I'm actually not related to Michael Greyeyes, as a number of people have asked me over the last couple of days. But I understand he's incredible and a wonderful namesake for me, so shout out to him. So I wanted to talk about my role at Manitoba Music because I think it's kind of along the lines of the TRC recommendations or call to action. I'm in a position that's kind of similar to what some of your larger organizations might be considering in an Indigenous person and Indigenous programming. And so I've been there for almost 13 years now, and it's a great situation for me. I've been introduced to incredible mentors. There's a lot of admin support there, so I don't have to do all of the financial stuff, although I do some of it. But it's also got some limitations. And the main limitations being our funding. And so for the last 13 years I've been there operating under the same amount of money for programming without any increase, but also increased expectations from our funders to deliver more and more and more. And so if any of you are considering hiring an Indigenous person for programming, I'd like to encourage you all to include plans for growth within your programming. I think that's extremely important. And without those opportunities to grow our program at Manitoba Music, I've been forced to, not forced, but I've wanted to start some other organizations. And so I was a part of the group that founded the Manitoba Festival, which is anchored by a competition powwow in Winnipeg and the Aboriginal People's Choice Music Awards. After that experience, I went on to launch a little festival in Winnipeg called Aboriginal Music Week. And our main goal there was to develop Indigenous youth as an audience for live music. Over those 8 years, I was able to test a lot of ideas and get and that's what I love about music, is being able to test ideas and getting feedback pretty quickly. And so what I learned there is that Indigenous audiences are a lot different than Canadian audiences. And the main difference being is that I think our families are more interested in participatory art experiences. And so the main reference for me in Western Canada is our competition powwows. And so our families are really, they're interested in participating. Like I said, they're at competition powwows, you can dance in intertribals. You're free to go and watch and sing along with any of the drum groups. You're able to leave your seat at any time. And as a young man, I also competed, not as a dancer or a singer, but I wore my best clothes and I competed for the attention of young ladies. And so I think that's a big part of the culture as well. And I think that's what we were missing in Aboriginal Music Week, even though it was really, I thought it was really great and we had some great partnerships, but we didn't have the audience wasn't engaged as much as they are in competition powwows. So I just like to say that Indigenous audiences in Winnipeg, at least, they're a lot different than Canadian audiences. And whenever you have the chance to deconstruct that classroom setting, where it's a bunch of people on stage or a band or whatever on stage and people are watching, I think that's an important step to take for the Indigenous audience, is to break down that barrier and make them a part of the conversation, give them a chance to participate, even if it is in their clothing. And I think you'll experience a lot more success like that.